Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam, Vaisnavas.
Dandavat Pranam.
Welcome to Shri Radha Vino Bihari Mandir, in Shri Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham.
Ki Jai.
Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Rupananda Gauri Guru Varga Ki Jai. Patik Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Prem Purushottam Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai. Shri Radha Vino Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Radha Ramana Ju Ki Jai. Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. गिरिराज महाराज की जय। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। We will begin with Mangalacharan. Vandeham Shri Guru, page 1 of this book, Shri Gauri Giti Guccha. Vandeham Shri Guru, Shri Padakamalam, Shri Gurum Vaishnavanscha. Shri-rupam sagrajatam sahagana raghunatanvitam tam sajeevam sadvetam samadhutam parijana sahitam Krishna chaitanya devam Shri-Radha Krishna padam sahagana lalita Shri Vishakhambikamshya Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Namine Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Adaya Madhurya Gunashcha Yuktam Param Varinyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tam Shirasam Namami Dinandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Pada Jigataika Hridi Chaitanya Leelamrita Sarasaram Narayanam Tvam Satatam Prapadye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Vishnupadaya Gaura Presthaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyano Keshava Nityanamine Ativatya Charitrayo Sashritanam Chapadine Jivadurthe Sadarkaya Shri Rama Premadayine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Dinamine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Nanikaya Kripabhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnano Dayine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryo Jvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga ध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैरम्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भरसम्बोधे पदं गुञ्जायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने घोरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगमराय ते गौराविर्भावभूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्टा सजनप्रियं वैष्णवः सर्वभौम श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतोपङ्गो मम मन्दमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदम्बोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमद श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीगोविन्ददेवो प्रेष्ठानिभिः सेव्यमानुस्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भे वंशीवक्रततस्थितः हर्षन्वेणुस्वरगोपीर्गोपीनाथश्रेष्ठः नः वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियाय केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द चेतोदर्पणमाचलं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दं गुरुवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतास्वादनं सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनं हरेर्नाम हरेर्नामेव केवलं हरो नस्त्येव 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 गतिरन्यथा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Gurudev Boro Kripa Kori Godavano Maji Godrume Diyashosthana page 33.
Starts with Gurudev Badokripa.
Boro Kripa Kori. Kirupe Paebo Seva Muy Duracha, page 45. K-I-R-U-P-E, Kirupe. And if you don't have a book, Jiva Pavana Prabhu, is he there?
Yes, Jiva
Dandava Pranam Prabhu.
Pranam.
He generally posts the bhajans and their translations and sometimes
Generally.
beautiful,
Always.
when he's present, which is 99.9% of the time, and also beautiful commentaries. So you can find it in the comment section.
Scroll down.
Just scroll down, and you can see the last comment there. Kirupe Paibo Seva. Shuniyachi sadhu mukhe bole sarvajan. Page 51. Suniyyachi. Shuniyachi. Nitai Pada Kamala, page 58. Nitai Pada Kamala. What? Nitai. Nitai. Pada. Pada. Kamala. Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasani Are Bhai Bhajamor Gauranga Charana. Page 81. Are Bhai, Arebhai, 81.
Mohan Das Prabhu is asking, one question, Prabhuji. In Navad Bhakti, it is mentioned both Padasevanam and Dasyam. They sound the same. What is the difference, if you don't mind? So I don't know if you want to do it now or before class.
Maybe afterward.
Okay, so just remember that you have a question in the beginning.
Okay. Thank you. Bhaja Huremana Srinandanandana. Because he asked about Navad Bhakti. I don't know what page it is. Bhaja Hu Hure Mana Mana. Page Bhaja Huremana.
137.
137. Chanta Priyanta sir.
137. Yeah, mine are maybe destroyed. 137. Bhaja Huremana.
राधे जय जय माधव दैते RADHE जय जय JAYA JAYA
Page number 341.
जय राधे जय जय So before we call out Mahamantra, praying for the mercy of Krishna and service to Radha and Krishna, also part of Vaishnava Dharma is praying for the benefit of others, and this is known as Jive Doya. Means always seeking the blessings for others. Maybe we cannot give mercy ourselves, but we can beseech for others. And at this time, there's one disciple of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is also a very senior personality within his society, who has been preaching the mission of his Gurudev for the last at least 40 years, non-stop. And he's in a very, very serious condition at this moment with COVID-19, whatever they call it, coronavirus. And he has a very difficult time. He can't breathe on his own. He has, what is it called? He's on the ventilator, and now he had a heart attack and his kidneys are shutting down. So it's looking very, very dangerous. And his name is Ujjapad Bhakti Charu Swami. And he's been acting as a spiritual master within the International Society of Krishna Consciousness for many, many years now. Srila Gurudev had so much affection and had so much care for all of these disciples of Srila Prabhupada, as Srila Prabhupada beseeched him at the very end of his own manifest presence in this world to please help his disciples. And so Srila Gurudev's own stated mission was that he was traveling the world on the order of Prabhupada to help his disciples, which means Gurudev's heart was always melting in compassion for all of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. And that also, that is the duty and responsibility for all of Srila Gurudev's disciples, to carry that mood within our heart and also to give honor and respect. Our Gurudev would place them on the seat next to him. If any disciple of Srila Prabhupada would come, he would embrace them, give them so much affection and honor. He would ask them to lead any kirtan. He would ask them to speak. Even those ones who were having difficulty in their spiritual lives, still he would give them honor and respect. Or to speak of those who are making that endeavor constantly in their life to serve. So at this time, I would like that we can all pray for the benefit of this devotee, this Vaishnava, who has been engaging his life to the best of his ability to serve the mission of his spiritual master. Srila Gurudev said that the nishta that we have seen in the disciples of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is unprecedented. We have not seen this kind of nishta even since the time of Shankaracharya. And we have seen it. We grew up in it. We watched. We were born into it. And we were there at the time of Srila Prabhupada. And even watching after Prabhupada departed from our physical vision, we saw the inspiration that he gave to those devotees, what they did for him and what they were willing to do for him. We could call it a sacrifice, but for them it wasn't sacrificing anything. It was love moving their heart. For us it may be sacrifice because we feel some burning, but for them the burning they had was to serve the mission, the instruction, the teaching of their Gurudev. And so at this time, he's in a very precarious situation, at least physically. And so I would like that we can pray for him, offer some of the benefit of our chanting for him in whatever situation he will be. And especially for his disciples, that they're all in a state of intense concern, deep, grave concern at this moment, and that we can also pray for them, for strength in their hearts, and also so that they may forever maintain or retain transcendental guidance. Hare जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे
So remember, there was a question.
Just that way.
Okay.
Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktāya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Ajnanatmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namam Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namine Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langayate giring yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandava Pranam thousands of times at the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, Astottara Shata Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta, Narayan Goswami Maharaja. And I offer the same thousands of Dandava Pranam at the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, Astottara Shata Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta, Swami Srila Prabhupada, to all of our Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas, past, present, and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer my Dandava Pranam. So beginning with the question asked by Sachinandan Prabhu, which I don't even see here, interestingly. Anyhow, no worries. About Pada Sevanam and Dasyam. So I actually don't feel very qualified to answer this question, but I will tell something from what I remember by hearing from Srila Prabhupada and Guru Varga, and from reading their books. It has been stated by Guru Sadhu Shastra that by following any of the processes of bhakti, any of those processes, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmani Vedanam, any one of them perfectly, that one can attain perfection. Simply by hearing Parikshit Maharaj attained perfection. Shravanam, Kirtanam. Of course, we know Kirtan is the process for attaining perfection, but Srila Goswami was doing Kirtan of the glories of Krishna in relation with his devotees. Shravanam, Kirtanam. Actually, all of these processes are included within Dasyam, because according to Shastra, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arsabhabritya. There's only one Supreme Lord, controller, and all others are his servants. Sometimes they may take the role of being parents, like Nanda Baba, Yashoda Maya, and others, and Krishna will carry their shoes on his head. Krishna carries Nanda Baba's shoes on his head. But still, their mood is always serving Krishna. Sometimes the gopis, especially Srimati Radhika, will exhibit symptoms of man, which appear like jealous anger or almost like rejection of Krishna. But we should understand that it is not rejection of Krishna. That man is a stage of prem. Prem, sneha, man, pranay, rag, anurag, bhav, mahabhav, modan, madan. It's a stage of transcendental love and affection. And the purpose of every particle of her transcendental divine being, her existence, is only to give pleasure to Krishna. So, this dasyam is an inherent function of everything in all of the creation of God. As Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj would quote Hegel often, God by definition is of himself and for himself. That means everything which manifests from him is for his purpose exclusively. And that is a good definition for God. That there's nothing that exists outside of himself or that is separate from or independent from him. So, still, these processes of bhakti are mentioned. Shravanam, hearing, kirtanam, glorifying his names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. Vishnu smaranam. Shravanam, kirtanam, Vishnu smaranam means to always remember. So by hearing and doing kirtan, automatic remembrance comes. Or while you are doing your mantras, your japa, you can also remember the sweet pastimes of Krishna. As our Gurudeva would always say, chant and remember the sweet pastimes of Krishna. So this is smaranam. What we have heard from pure devotees, what we have read from Shastra, then we remember this, smaranam. Right, also, it's told, Tannam Rupa Charitari Sukirtananu Smrityo. So this is also showing the process of bhakti. Glorifying Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. Smrityo, remembering. Kramena, in sequence. So this would also be a reference to remembering the pastimes of Krishna as they are flowing. So, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Pada Sevana means to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. And then Archanam. Archanam means worship or puja of the deity form of the Lord or the direct form of the Lord. There's Archan there also, but Archan takes a different form. In Dwarka it'll be one way, with Narayan and Vaikuntha it will be a different way, with Sri Ram it will be a different way, and even how the Brajabasis relate to Krishna, their Archan is different. Yashoda is doing worship of Krishna in one way, the Sakhas are doing worship of Krishna in another way, the Gopis are worshipping Krishna with their sidelong glances. They worship him with their eyes. So this is also a form of Archan, but then according to the regulations of Shastra, when we are performing the activities of Vaidhi Bhakti, at least externally, Archan would be worship of the deity in the temple. And then Bandhana means offering prayers. Sakyam means friendship. So now we're getting into Vishrambha, feeling of intimacy, friendship. And then Atmanivedan means offering one's very self, everything about oneself. You can say mind, body, words, soul, everything at the lotus feet of Krishna. And this is the final result of all of the other practices of bhakti, that one will completely offer their very being, everything, in service to Krishna, for his happiness, for his pleasure, and for his benefit. So, what is the difference between dasyam and padasevanam? In terms of this particular question, I would say that, and I'm just speaking from myself, so please, I'm not exactly quoting any scripture on this, but padasevanam is included within dasyam. It is one of the symptoms of that. Just like all of these are symptoms of bhakti or bhajan. So Archan is also within it, Kirtan is within it, Shravanam is within it, Padasevanam is within it. But Dasya means a feeling of servitude. So within Dasyam there are so many different aspects, including Padasevanam. So like when we're speaking about Maharaja Ambarish, in the qualities which have been mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, it says, Maharaj Ambarish, he used all of his senses in the service of the Lord. Savai manak Krishna pada aravindayor. his mind in serving the lotus feet of Krishna, but also his hands, his feet, everything, his mouth, everything. Bachansi Vaikuntha Gunanu Varnane. Everything that he did, all of his senses were used in the service of the Lord. So among these we have Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Mandanam, Dasyam, Satyam, Atma Nivedanam. This Pada Sevanam is a particular aspect of service to the Lord. And by this particular aspect, of course, Pada Sevanam can be in the mood of dasya, servitude. But Pada Sevanam can also be in so many different bhavs as well. So there's dasya ras, sakya ras. Also the cowherd boys are massaging the legs of Krishna, but they have sakya ras. So, dasyam, sakyam, atma nivedanam. Who is doing the real atma nivedanam? Surrendering everything completely. Only those persons to whom Krishna says, I can never repay you for your love and affection, the gopis. This is the highest extent of that. So in general, we will say that Bali Maharaj, he's symptomatic of this mood of Atma Nivedam, surrender. So from one perspective, we will see Bali Maharaj, that he has surrendered his body and everything, and Vaman Dev has put his feet on the head of Bali Maharaj. But ultimately, we will see a mood of complete surrender of everything, even giving up one's own material idea of chastity, shame, reputation, society, everything. This can only be found in the gopis. Complete surrender to Krishna, everything. Ultimate extreme would be found in them. So, dasyam is one aspect, servitude. So in this it's referencing the different rasas. Dasya ras, sakya ras, vatsalya ras, madhurya ras. This is a progression. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita specifically it is stated that as one is progressing, they will actually feel and go through these bhavs. So you will see that someone is having a mood of desperation in servitude. They may feel first shantaras, some kind of neutrality, but as they're deepening, they will feel dasyaras, servitude. And as they're progressing, they will friendship mood. And as they're progressing, they will start feeling more mamata, protective mood even. And then as they progress further, if their atma, if that nature of the atma is such that they will or can, then they will experience this mood like Gopi Bhav. And Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita explains that within Madhurya Ras is the completeness of all other rasas. So the maximum extent of all other rasas is within Madhurya Ras. The maximum extent of Vatsalya, and within that Sakya, within that Dasya is within Madhurya Ras. And within Vatsalya Ras is the maximum extent of Sakya Ras and Dasya Ras. Within Sakya Ras is the maximum extent of Dasya Ras. So you can say it's like a compression or consecutive enhancement or development of moods. That's why Srila Gurudev explained that although Srila Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada, is the same like his Gurudev and like his Gurudev and like Bhaktivedanta Thakur and like Sri Rupa Manjari, the same, serving Radha and Krishna in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan, just like them. Still it may be that he also manifests from time to time Sakya Bhav. Just like we see, Sanatan Goswami has written Brihad Bhagavatamrita glorifying Gopakumar. Although Sanatan Goswami is a maidservant of Srimati Radhika Manjari, still the whole thing is about a devotee in Sakya Rasa. And he's manifesting this Bhav. And we see also Bhaktivedanta Thakur has mentioned something of this, and so has Narottam Das Thakur in his bhajans and his treatises. Did I say that right? Treatises. In his presentations. So they contain all of that within themselves. But the first part, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, these are aspects of bhakti or aspects of bhajan. So it's mentioned as the 9 processes but they're not necessarily mutually exclusive from one another. Just like when we say bhajan. Bhajan includes all of the different aspects of bhakti. And we see there's 64 limbs mentioned by Rupa Goswami, 5 mentioned by Mahaprabhu, 9 in Srimad Bhagavatam. Which one is right? They're all right. They're all good. They're all proper. And it's just about deepening that mood. So one will also serve the lotus feet of the Lord. This is called Padasevana, serving the lotus feet of the Lord. How? One may worship the feet of the Lord. One may admire the feet of the Lord. One may meditate on the transcendental signs on the feet of the Lord. One may massage the feet of the Lord. So many different ways of worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. And there's another way also, which just came to me. What our Gurudev mentioned, and what our Shastras have mentioned. We say something very interesting when we're glorifying our Guru Varga. Om visnupada astottara sata Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaja ki jai. Om visnupada astottara sata Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya lila pravishta. Om visnupada means they are carrying the mood of service to their Prabhu. So they in essence are like the forms of the feet of the Lord. When we say that please accept my obeisance in the dust of your lotus feet. Who is the dust of the lotus feet? Kripaya tava pada pankaja. Please keep me as a particle of dust on your lotus feet. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying to Krishna. So who is the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna? His pure devotees. Those personalities are coming in this world. Om Vishnupad. Like the feet of Vishnu, or Vishnu meaning Krishna, and especially in our Rupanuga Guru Varga, Vishnu meaning Srimati Radhika. How is this possible? Vishnu means all-pervading. Who is all-pervading? Well, we know Krishna is. Vishnu is. But who is even pervading the heart of Krishna? Radhika Premier Guru Ami Shishyanata. Srimati Radhika is pervading even the heart of Krishna. Therefore she is known as Madan Mohan Mohini. Completely captivating, entrancing the heart and the mind of Krishna himself. So Vishnu is another name for Srimati Radhika. Our Gurudev explained this. Om Vishnupad. Shri Srimad. Who is carrying this Shri, this mood of loving service to Krishna around this world. And this is one of the first, the essential, and not one of the first important part of serving the Lord. This is Padasevanam. Serving who? Ado Guru Padashray. The first form of Krishna which manifests in our life is Shri Guru. And to surrender at the lotus feet of Shri Guru, to receive so many different aspects are mentioned in the first, I think it's the first 5 limbs of the 64 limbs of Bhakti are all about surrender and submittance at the lotus feet of Shri Guru. But we should not see Guru as something separate from the Supreme Lord. We should see Guru as the manifestation of the servitor aspect of Godhead. In other words, a manifestation of the mood of loving service to the Lord. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada explained that we will see the spiritual master as either the manifestation of Nityananda Prabhu or as a maidservant of Srimati Radhika. In Tattva, one, and in Rasa, the other. From one perspective, Guru Tattva, manifestation of Baladev Prabhu, whose every particle of his being is made of loving service to Krishna. And from the other perspective also, as a person, what are they doing in service to Krishna? Nikunjayuno ratikeli siddhyaya yalibhir yuktirapekshaniya tatrati dakshat adivallabhasya bande guru shri charanarvindam. Expert in assisting the gopis and serving Radha and Krishna within the Nikunjas of Vrindavan. One will see their Gurudev like this. And who can enter that? No male form can enter. Srila Gurudev said that 1,000 times. I've heard him. 1,000 times. No other male form can enter, only Krishna. So those who are serving in that capacity as maidservants of Srimati Radhika, E nivedanadara sakir anugata karo seva adhikara diye koro nijadasi. My supplication is to make me a follower of the gopis. Please give me the privilege of seva and make me your own maidservant. Koro nijadasi. This is what we pray to Sudevi, but also to Sri Guru. So in this case, also we can see that Pada Sevana may be complete taking shelter and worshipping of Sri Guru, this first form of Krishna in our lives. And Pada Sevana doesn't necessarily mean just the feet, but we take shelter at the feet, Ado Guru Padashraya, at the lotus feet of Guru, meaning complete humility, that I am accepting you as my Lord and Master, and I will do as you tell me. So this is accepting service to the lotus feet of the Lord, and from this, everything else will manifest. So, in this case, yes, from there, then we will be able to develop. Archan means we will do the processes of bhakti, sadhu sanga nam kirtan bhagavat shravan maturava shrimurtir shradhaya sevan. When we are mentioning the 9 processes of bhakti, there is nowhere there which states that this one is first, this one is second, this one is third, this one is fourth. There's nowhere there which states that directly. Shravanam kirtanam. Of course we must hear first. Something must come so that we can develop faith. Ado shraddha. First faith. But how do you develop that faith? First you must have some kind of sadhu sangha, some kind of mercy. So there's first one kind of sadhu sangha. It might be in the form of mahaprasad. It might be in the form of hearing something. It might just be the form of just once having darshan, or even being seen by a sadhu, a real sadhu. One time they glance at you and you don't even know where it came from, but suddenly you lose taste for doing mundane activities and you want to develop in your loving nature of service to God. Where did that come from? By the glance of sadhu. You don't even realize it. In what form was I glanced at? I have no idea. Maybe I was in the body of an animal. I don't even know. Maybe I was just a rodent who came and took some mahaprasad after the fact. And by that, some mercy came. We've read so many examples in scriptures of this. So we don't know when it began, but somehow some mercy came to us that started us. And then some faith started building from there. Ado Shraddha. And then again, Sadhu Sangha. Because of faith starting to build, Shraddha, then more Sadhu Sangha. Because that is the essential thing. Krishna Bhakti Janma Mool Hoy Sadhu Sangha. The root cause of Krishna Bhakti's manifestation is the association of sadhus. Krishna Prema Janme Tenho Punya Mukya Anga. And even after the attainment of perfection, which is Krishna Prema, still Sadhu Sangha is the most essential thing. Puna Mukya Anga. Most essential thing. How important and imperative is Sadhu Sangha. So Ado Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha Ta Bhajana Kriya. Then we engage in the process of bhakti as given by Sri Guru toward the attainment of our perfection. So he prescribes the proper sadhana, the practice for which we can attain to our perfection. This is known as bhajana kriya, the activities of bhajan, which means all of the processes of bhakti which are favorable for our particular destination. Not all of the ones mentioned in the 64 limbs of bhakti are favorable for the attainment of braja bhakti. Certain aspects which are mentioned, like nyas, prapati, mudras, even Dwarka Dhyan, meditating on the pastimes of Krishna in Dwarka, these are not necessarily favorable for the attainment of Braja Bhakti. So what Sri Guru directs us to do, then we follow that. And that is important. This is called Guru Nishtha. So Bhajana Kriya, from this Bhajana Kriya, by following the instruction of Guru, by being in Guru Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, then Tato Nartan Nivritti Syat. By this, gradually all anarthas begin to disappear from our heart. How did that happen? Hare Krishna. Haribo. Hare Krishna.
What happened?
I don't know. It was a long shut off, maybe. Hare Krishna. Even the internet shut off.
Yeah, everything just went down.
Wow. Hello? It's still going.
Oh. I don't think so. Everything just shut down.
No, it's going again. Hare Krishna.
It's not.
It is not.
It's not.
All right. It still says it's going here. Oh. 1 second. 1 second. Oh. Radhe Radhe.
It's off.
Okay. 1 second. 1 second. Hey. Hello. There they are. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Testing, testing.
Okay, it's back.
That was a very strange power cut. Everything shut off.
That's fine.
It's back on?
You're back.
Okay, there it goes. Forgive me. Hare Krishna.
Before you go on, I was just wondering if within the same realm of this question, you know, when we would sing Ali Mohelage Vrindavananiko for Gurudev, instead of Thakur Puja, we would say Thakur Seva. That there was some kind, there's a difference in the mood of what we're doing. Does that resonate, or is it completely different? Maybe it's just completely different.
I'll do it in Bhajana Kriya.
Yeah.
So coming back to Bhajana Kriya, before Anarthanavritti, Sudevi reminded me of something very interesting. You know, when we sing this Ali Mohelage Vrindavananiko, there we're glorifying Vrindavan, and this is a bhajan by Meera. In the original bhajan it says Thakur Puja. But Gurudev, he instructed us that we should not do Thakur Puja, but we should do Thakur Seva. Puja means one thing, means worship, but Seva means to serve with the object, with the goal of pleasing the object of my love and affection. And Thakur means my beloved. So there's a different mood in there, an enhanced mood. And so according to the instruction of Sri Guru, we will approach it differently. So Sudevi just wanted me to mention that in that context. And then there's Anarthana Vritti. Tato Anarthana Vritti Syat. Anarthana Vritti means the subsequent removal of anarthas from the heart. Anarthas means those things which are crowding our heart. Generally it said unwanted things. But I cannot call it unwanted because usually we want it. That's why it's there. We want it. But it's not favorable for the attainment of our goal. Anartha. Artha means our goal, and an means opposite or opposed to the attainment of our goal. So that means all of those things which are crowding the heart that are unfavorable for the development of bhakti. Therefore, it can be considered unwanted. But at this point, we have the problem of wanting it. But due to being in sadhu sangha, due to following the process of bhakti or bhajan as directed by Sri Guru and Vaisnavas, by the sadhus, by receiving their mercy, then, as our Gurudev would frequently tell us regarding this bhajan by Srila Narottam Das Thakur, Sri Guru Charana Padma, in there it says, Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite Avidya Vinasha Jate. That by the favorable aspects of bhakti that we are following under the guidance and under the order of Sri Guru and Vaishnavas, Sadhu Sangha, by that, then ignorance is destroyed. Anarthas, unfavorable feelings in the heart are destroyed. Like Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavat Yuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. All of those abhadreshu, inauspicious things in the heart, are practically destroyed by the association of the Vaishnavas. Serving the Bhagavat means the person Bhagavat, and Srimad Bhagavatam, both, means the glories of Krishna. Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. So by the favorable thing entering, the negative thing leaves. And another example given is Vikriditam Rajavidu Viridam Cha Vishnum Shraghan Vito Nishniyat Atavannayadya Bhaktim Param Bhagavati Pratilabdya Kama Hridrogam Ashvapahinotta Chirena Dhira. We have so many diseases in the heart, crowding our heart: lust, anger, greed, madness, envy, pride, aparads, weakness of heart, so many anarthas and so many things inside, since time immemorial. Especially the main one, which Arjuna asked Krishna about in Bhagavad Gita. What is it that even though you know better, and know you shouldn't do it, as if impelled by force, you do it anyway? What is that? Krishna said, it is lust only, the all-devouring, sinful enemy of this world. Lust only. Lust does not only mean sensual or sexual lust. Lust means the desire to enjoy and exploit this world for my own selfish sense gratification through the medium of all of my senses. There's a term now that they use called eye candy. I don't know if you've heard of it. Fancy gadgets. Not this one, but the latest iPhone would be considered eye candy. A beautiful girl on your arm would be considered eye candy. Or a beautiful man, whatever. Something which is attractive to the eye that other people might become jealous of. But it's called eye candy. Whatever it is. So through the eyes, to lust after something, to become jealous after something else. Through the nose, to want to enjoy. Through the sense of taste, jihva vegam, wanting to taste everything and enjoy so many things. Through the hands, wanting to touch so many things, kashipu. So through the ears, wanting to hear so many things that are pleasing to my senses. Instead of using the ears also for serving the Lord. If we hear Harikatha, it might be pleasing to me, but why would I hear it? Because it is pleasing to the Lord. So if we use all of our senses for the service of the Lord, then they will be purified. If we use them for our own enjoyment, then they will be contaminated. We can even use the Lord for our own enjoyment, then that is not necessarily favorable. Although gradually over time, if we are in sadhu sangha and we are hearing properly, then gradually our senses will become purified. What is it? Tata Shri Krishna Namari Nabhavit Grahamindriyai Sevan Mukhe Hijivado Swayam Eva Spuratyada. Utilizing our senses in the service of the Lord and the service of the pure devotees, gradually they become purified. I think the other one I was thinking of, Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam. So utilizing all of our upadi, our senses, in the service of the Lord, then gradually they become purified. Rishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchate. Serving the transcendental senses of the Lord, then these material senses become purified. So in this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Vikriditam Rajavidu Viridam Cha Vishnum, it says Hridrogam. What is the main disease of the heart? That is lust. How do you get rid of this main thing? From that, the desire to lord it over the material energy, the desire to control, the desire to be the Lord, the enjoyer. That's why we're here. And it's what makes the world go round. And it's the cause of all of the problems that we see in this world. The privileged and the unprivileged, who keep taking turns. One becomes privileged, and then they're jealous of that one. They're taking advantage of that one, and this one is jealous of that one, and then when they die, they take birth and swap places. And then this one becomes privileged, and this is underprivileged, and they take advantage of them. Which one came first? The chicken or the egg? It's called karma. It's action, reaction, action, reaction. And it's the way it has always been. It is unfortunate, but that is the nature of this material world. In this connection, I'm going to break off for a little bit. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada had a conversation with Subhash Chandra Bose. This has been written down by the disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. And in this conversation, because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada was collecting so many of the very prominent, strong, beautiful, and powerful young persons, including our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, who used to be a militant within the army of Subhash Chandra Bose. There was Gandhi's non-violent movement, and there was other movements as well. There were violent movements. So he was a, what do you call it? Guerrilla. Means he was hiding in the bushes in the jungle with a rifle. This is what he was doing before. And then he heard about Harinam. He heard about Krishna. He heard about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. He gave up all of this mundane thing and started actually engaging in the real war. Not against any little thing, but against the material energy. To counteract the material energy and to help all souls to become free from this cyclic thing of karma, he began to take shelter of Sri Harinam Prabhu under the guidance of his Gurudev. Completely giving up every other thing. Took complete shelter of his Gurudev. It is said that years later, they came looking for him because they wanted to put him in prison for some reason. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada convinced those who came searching for him that he is a sadhu now. He has given up all of these things so many years before, and he's completely dedicated in loving service to the Lord. So they left it alone. So anyhow, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada had this conversation with Subhash Chandra Bose, who was concerned that you're taking all of these very strong, powerful, young persons into your spiritual movement, but who's going to defend Mother India from the foreign invaders? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada replied, I think this conversation, where is it? Is it in that big book? Bhakti Saraswati? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati? There's a big table-sized book, coffee table book of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, and the kathas in there. He said, do you accept Bhagavad Gita? Of course, Subhash Chandra Bose said, of course. Yes, of course. It's our national Hindu Sanatan literature. Do you accept what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita? That whatever you're meditating on at the time of death, you will attain that state without fail. Yang yang bhapi smaram bhavam tyajantyante kalevaram tam tameva iti konteya satattat bhava bhavita. Yes, well, of course. So if you are meditating while you are fighting in anger on those who are your enemies, what will be the result? And if they're meditating on you as their enemy, what will be the result at the time of death? He said, you will be born in that country, and they will be born in your country, and you will keep fighting. This is called samsara. So, flipping, and then flipping again, and flipping again. This one is Indian, this one is British, then next life reversed, then next life reversed, next life reversed. He said, so I have not come to liberate just one certain country or a certain group of persons, but I've come to liberate the entire universe with the truth of Shastra, with the truth of Srimad Bhagavatam, with the truth of Krishna. How can you become liberated from all of these bindings forever? Only through Harinam Sankirtan. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada explained it to him, and he said, until now no one has ever explained this to me. And then he went on his way. He said, no one has explained it to me like this. He was quite impressed. So coming back to the point, what is the knot? The disease of lust in the heart is that big knot. And how do I get rid of it? You can't get rid of it without a positive process. What is the positive process? Positive process? Vikriditam brajavidubir idam cha vishnu shradhanvito nishinayat atavarnayadya bhaktim param bhagavatim pratlabhyama. To hear Rasa Lila Katha from Srimad Bhagavatam, from the lips of that pure devotee who has no lust in their heart, who has no envy in their heart. I'm trying to remember the verse from Bhagavatamrita, verse 5. Shrushrushaya bhajana vidyam ananyam anya nindadi. Who has no tendency to criticize others, who is engaged in one-pointed, exclusive bhajan, means always remembering the transcendental pastimes of Krishna. To hear it from that person who has no inebriety in their heart, no lust, when you hear that from them with faith, honor and regard, although your heart may be full of lust, hridrogam is there. But how do you get rid of that? By the positive thing, by hearing of the transcendental love of the gopis for Krishna, especially in Rasa Lila pastimes, as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, from the lips of the pure devotee, with faith, with honor and regard, Shraddha Anvito. Then that transcendental lust, which is actually love, will replace the mundane lust in our heart. Atmendriya Prativancha Taribalikam Krishnendriya Praticha Dhare Premanam. The tendency to satisfy my own senses, to serve my own senses in this world, this is known as lust. The tendency to satisfy the transcendental senses of Krishna, this is known as love. So again and again we see reflected in all Shastra, Krishna Surya Samamayahai Andakar. Krishna is like the sun and Maya is like darkness. When the sun comes, when it is present, then darkness automatically vanishes. In the same way, by the instructions, the teachings, following the practices as given by the pure devotee, bhajana kriya, then naturally anarthas are removed. Prema bhakti will manifest first, and by this it will come first in the form of shraddha. And if we're following properly, gradually the avidya, the ignorance, will be wiped out, will be removed, will be destroyed. Avidya vinasha jate. To think that we can do it the other way around, it's not possible. As we've seen in the history of Vishwamitra, Shobhari Rishi, and so many others. If you just try to remove all of these things without actually supplanting it with transcendental things, something positive, if you just try to remove the anarthas without actually putting the higher taste in there, it's very, very dangerous. If there's no higher taste, Gurudev said, immediately you will go back again for the lower taste. You need to give the higher taste. Otherwise the lower taste will distract you or attract you again. And with Vishwamitra, he heard the ankle bells of Menaka and poof, heart was gone. He went to Menaka. Shobhari Rishi, he was doing intense austerities for thousands of years, but not placing Krishna Bhakti on top. Nothing positive. What happened as a result? Oh, he became, his lust, which was still inside, became inflamed, and then he went and married the 50 princesses and enjoyed for thousands of years. This was the result, because bhakti was not being placed there. The positive attraction to Krishna, transcendental nectar, was not being placed there. And what is the proof of actual, real planting of nectar in the heart? Not just claiming it. You know, I'm not my body, I love Krishna. Not just claiming it. The proof of real darshan. If one has really seen, they will never be attracted to anything of this material world ever again. If one has truly seen. The idea of someone actually truly seeing and then still being absorbed in material things of this world, Gurudev had the best laugh ever. Someone told Gurudev, oh Gurudev, this devotee, he had darshan of the navel belly button of Srimati Radhika. Gurudev said, what? Yes, he said he had darshan of her belly button. Gurudev busted up laughing and he was bouncing so much. Oh, he was laughing so heavily. And then he just stopped cold in his laughing and he said, bogus. If even once having seen, you never have attraction to anything of this material world ever again. This is proof of real darshan. So I've spoken so much on that subject previously, but I just wanted to mention, because we were speaking about this Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, that it is not necessarily that each one is in order of a sequence. That first you have to Shravanam, then you have to Kirtanam, then Smaranam. But we see that this is the natural consequence. You've heard, then you're repeating. And as you've heard, actually, you must be remembering. So remembrance is coming automatically. And when you're doing Kirtan, then it becomes more acute. You remember even more. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Then from this, naturally, you begin serving. Seva Bhav becomes manifest in the association of pure devotees. How do we know? Brahmanda Brahmite, Kon Bhayamanaji, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Beach. That extremely fortunate soul who's been wandering from universe to universe since time without beginning, by the great mercy of Krishna, who is extremely fortunate, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, receives in their life the form of the mercy of Krishna known as Sri Guru, Guru Krishna. And by his mercy, Bhakti Lata Beach means the seed of bhakti is awakened in the heart. That is Krishna Seva Vasanam, the tendency to serve Krishna. That Seva Vritti, Krishna Seva Vasanam, that tendency to serve Krishna is awakened in the heart by that association. Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Beach. So from this Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevana means now I want to serve Krishna. And then I begin the process of serving. So serving the feet of Krishna, serving the feet of Guru, serving the feet of Vaishnavas. Even Krishna wants to serve the feet of his Vaishnavas. We see it everywhere. He's taking the Charanamrita of Sudama and putting on his head, taking the foot dust from the gopis and putting it over his whole body. He's massaging the feet of the cows when they go out walking. How much love and affection? Massaging the feet of the gopis because they've been dancing so amazingly for so long. And Krishna wants to also serve the feet of his devotees. So what to speak of the benefit we can achieve of serving the feet of Krishna's devotees. Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, these are all natural, spontaneous processes of bhakti. I just want to see if there are any questions relating to... Nice. Jiva Pavana Prabhu says, the subtle difference is that Pada Sevanam is to worship or serve those things, places and personalities which are in relationship to Krishna, whereas Dasyam implies working hard within different rasas in service to their lordships. However, these two limbs of bhakti do overlap, as the other limbs do as well. So I hope, I see there that you've acknowledged. This is a subject which I have not meditated on much, but so much I've heard from our Guru Varga, and I've also read from our Guru Varga, and I hope I've been able to address it to a certain extent. So we have a few more minutes. Thank you for your question, Prabhu. I want to read a little bit from Going Beyond Vaikuntha. So without giving the big introduction, I will offer the prayer from Raghunath Das Goswami to Sanatan Goswami. Vairaga Juga Bhakti Rasam Prayatnayar Payanan Mamana Vipshamandam Kripam Gudirya Paraduku Duki Sanatana Spam Prabhum Ashrayami. Praying in the dust of the lotus feet of our Gurudev, the commentator, and Sri Sanatan Goswamipada, the compiler, the writer of Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita. I beg that even a particle of the moods that are present within their hearts may manifest within our hearts from the pages of this book. So, our Gurudev was speaking about Kurma avatar. And yesterday we were discussing the different avatars. In every kalpa there are manifestations of the avatars. And actually it is said in Shastra that there are unlimited avatars. We cannot count. Like the crests of waves in the ocean. So many little waves in the ocean. By the wind. We cannot count it ever. Or particles of sand. There's no way we can count. In the same way, there are unlimited manifestations of the Lord. We can never count. And each one of them is eternal, transcendental, and ever-present within the spiritual sky. And periodically, they also manifest within this material world to perform their pastimes for the pleasure and benefit of the devotees. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam dharmasya tadatmanam shujamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sangstarpanataya sambhavami yuge yuge. To re-establish the principles of dharma, to destroy adharma for the pleasure of his devotees, to save them, to rescue them, and also to remove the demons, then I manifest myself from yuga to yuga. So we've seen that there are many different Varaha avatars, many different Matsya avatars, many different Kurma avatars, and actually Srila Prabhupada writes that the Lord appears in every species. We just have not necessarily heard of all of them. Certain avatars, I don't know if I would be able to, but every single one has been said to be extremely beautiful. So, I was telling about Varaha Dev yesterday. Srila Prabhupada writes in the commentaries, in the purports of Srimad Bhagavatam, that actually there are so many different Varahas which are mentioned in Shastra, and they've all kind of been compiled into the one katha, the one story. But we should understand that these are happening in many different kalpas. Oh, I wanted to start to bring it to this interesting point yesterday, I remember. So in the same way, we hear about Varaha avatar, that so many different avatars are there. We also hear about Kalki avatar. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita states something very interesting, and it's there in the shlokas. When the avatari appears, means the origin of all of the avatars appear, then all of the avatars appear within that personality. And the function of all of those avatars is taken care of by the avatari or the source, the original. So when Krishna appeared, all Vishnu avatars were within him. And they took care of the function of killing the demons from within him. Krishna in Vrindavan, he wasn't killing demons. It looks like it from the outside, but all of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, all of our Guru Parampara, they've established this fact that it was not Krishna. It says it also in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Braj Krishna, his function is not to kill demons. His function is to steal hearts. His function is to play, to enjoy. But the Vishnu within him, his own manifestation, Vishnu within him is killing the demons. Krishna was just holding on to Trinavarta's neck, because Trinavarta was going up very, very high. In the beginning, Krishna was so happy. Wow, he was mapping all of Vrindavan, seeing all of the different pathways to all of the different homes where all of his gopis live. And then, when Trinavarta went so high in the sky and beyond the clouds that Krishna could no longer see Vrindavan, Krishna became afraid and he held on more tightly. At that time, holding on more tightly, poor boy didn't know his strength. Poor Trinavarta, his eyeballs popped out like rasagula, Gurudeva would say, and he fell down to the ground, dead. And Krishna was fine. But it wasn't Krishna trying to kill him. Krishna wasn't trying to kill Putana. He just closed his eyes to drink milk. The Vishnu within him is killing the demons. In the same way, when the avatari appears, who else is avatari? The original Krishna, Radha Bhava Dyuti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. The original Krishna appeared as Sri Shachinandan Gaurahari, but also covered with the bhav, the moods and sentiments of Srimati Radhika. So he's still avatari, Krishna, the original, non-different. Within him, all Leela avatars manifest, means they're also within him. And he performs the function through them of all of these other avatars during the Yuga. So Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita exactly states that when the avatari appears, then the Leela avatars won't appear separately. They appear within him. And he performs his function, all of their function, through himself. It means they perform their function through him. So who is Leela avatar? Kalki is Leela avatar in this Kali Yuga. This is a very special Kali Yuga. Not every Kali Yuga does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appear, only once in a day of Brahma. So every 2,000 Kali Yugas, 8,640,000,000 years, just after the time of Krishna, Sachinandan Gaura Hari appears. In every other Kali Yuga, there may be any Gaura avatar, but not Sachinandan Gaura Hari. It's Gaura Narayan. But in this Kali Yuga, this Krishna himself, imbued with the bhav, the mood, the sentiment, and the complexion of Srimati Radhika, manifested. And within him, all Leela avatars are present. So through his process, everything will be accomplished. Chaitanya Charitamrita says that the other Leela avatars will not appear. That's why this is called Dhanya Kali, the most fortunate. Although it is an ocean of faults still. Kirtanareva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Paramrajet. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one can attain the highest destination. What is the yajna for this age? What is the weapon? Sangha Upanga Ashtra. What is the weapon of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Two weapons actually. One, his own beauty. If Krishna is so beautiful that Srimati Radhika's heart melts, but she's so beautiful that he completely is captivated and collapses. We've seen it and heard about it. What is it? Anangaranga Mangala Prasanga Bhangura Brahvam Savibramam Sasambramam Drigantabana Patanai. Just by her sidelong glances, Nirantaram Vishikrita Pratiti Nandanandane. Her sidelong glances piercing his heart like arrows, one after another consecutively. He falls flat on the amorous battlefield, completely defeated. Kada Karishyasi Hamang Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam. When, oh when, at that time, when she defeats him, will I join in her victory chorus? Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Will she give me her sidelong glance at that time? So, Srimati Radhika has captured the heart of Krishna. Imagine how beautiful is Sachinandan Gaura Hari. So Shastra says that one of his astras is his own beauty. How attractive. Can you imagine? Not just Krishna, but the combined form of Radha and Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, Nahe Anya. There's no difference between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, and Radha Krishna. So one is his beauty, and the other ashtra is Sankirtan. Sankirtan, this is the process for pleasing the Lord in this age. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And by this process, Kali Yuga will be taken over by the process of Harinam Sankirtan. That's why this Kali Yuga is known as Dhanya Kali Yuga. Ke jabire bhai bhava sindupar. Dhanya Kali Yuga Chaitanya Avatar. Because of the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this Kali Yuga became known as Fortunate Kali Yuga. So we're seeing so much strife and everything going on right now. But Mahaprabhu said that my name will be chanted in every town and village by the power of the holy name. Srila Prabhupada writes in his bhajan on the way to America that by this holy name, everyone in all the lands will be purified. The entire world will be inundated by this holy name, and by this process, all hearts will be purified. So there's no need for Kalki Avatar to come separately. By the power of the holy name, which is presented by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with the possibility of awakening Braja Prem, Nam Akari Bahudani Jasarva Shaktis, Tatra Pitani Metasmaranena Kala, Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaivam Indrishamiha Janinaragaha. That all of Krishna's potencies, Sarva Shakti, are present within his holy name. So how much power is there? How much potency is within Hare Krishna Mahamantra? So calling out for the mercy of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
You forgot Hare Krishna.
No, I said Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. She just wanted me to chant it again, and we're going to chant again. praying and calling out for the mercy of Harinam. Not only will Harinam completely take over our hearts and minds, but calling out loudly will affect the entire world. And that is the duty of every selfless welfare worker of Gaudiya Math, but that also means of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's society, that somehow or other we should effect change in the world, not by joining the material causes, which only keep people bound in samsara, but by giving the cure for all diseases. That is Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So there have been other questions asked which we will answer tomorrow. Please forgive me for not answering now. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasani Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Prabhupada ki jai, Rupan Gurudeva ki jai, Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Shri Sachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Bihari Ji ki jai, Radha Mani ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Laddu Gopal ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari. Thank you very much for being with us today, and again for engaging me and remembering the beautiful teachings of our Gurudeva, our Guru Varga and Shastra, and just for always encouraging us and allowing us this opportunity to do our Guru Seva. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat
Hare Krishna.
Pranam.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Dandavat
Shri Radha
Pranam.
Vinod Bihari Ji ki
Jai.